Hello everyone, I hope you all are fine. This is the first lecture after the midterm exams. Till the midterm exams we had 5 chapters. Number one was regarding the basic arithmetic. The second chapter was regarding the measurements, equations and shaded area. The third chapter was related to the mean, mode, median, and fourth was related to the range, standard deviation and variance. And the last chapter, the fifth chapter, which was related to the payroll management. So now in the post-mid syllabus again we have around 5 chapters that we need to cover. So there will be total 10 chapters. In the next class, when we will be having a live interaction with each other, and we will talk about the midterm exam and how was the midterm exam. We will discuss a little bit regarding the questions which were asked in midterm exams, and then further we will talk about the number of quizzes that we are done with. We are already done with 4 quizzes, and we will see how many more quizzes we are going to conduct further. And apart from that, there was one assignment which was assigned to you before the midterm exams, and I hope so that you guys have done it, because the last time when I checked, there were about 50 to 60% of the students who haven't submitted the assignment when I checked the classroom. Secondly, apart from that, there was one project which we were talking about when we were in the university, and I assigned you the project with the group names, and everything was discussed regarding it. So we will further talk about it in our live session, and we will discuss that how you are going to provide me the project, whether there will be a presentation or not. So all of these things will be mentioned in it. So right now what we will do is that we will start our post-mid syllabus, starting from the first chapter, which will be basically it's the 6th chapter from the till now, but the first chapter of the post-mid, and which is known as the basic algebra. In this first thing that you need to understand regarding this chapter is the equation. Let's suppose that there is a simple equation given. So how you are going to operate that equation, in which there is a base, operator, the coefficient, the constant, all of these things. And then furthermore, you don't need to memorize obviously these terms, but you need to know the difference between all of these. Usually these coefficients, beta, and all of these equations are very much used in terms of the research when we are doing a research. So we need to know these things. Why? Because in research, when we have to run a regression, so we need to interpret the regressed model. So in order to interpret that model, we need to know the values, we need to know how they work, we need to know the significance of it, what does the relationship means between the two, and all of those things between the variable, between the independent and the dependent variable. Now moving forward to the first slide. So this is basically in this chapter, the main part is to find the value of x. So whatever sort of the equation is, the only thing that you need to understand is that you need to find x. So what I will do is I will do some questions for your help, and we will see what will be the answers, and the rest of the questions which I will miss, you will do it as part of your homework. So let's start from the first one. This A part says, in this A part, the question is basically x minus 6 is equals to 10. If you have to find x, the answer will be 10 plus 6, and x will give us 16. This is the simple answer to the first question. If we move on to question number, which is the part C. In part C, you can see the question is 3x divided by 4 is equals to 7. If 4 is divided here, it will be multiplied when it will move to the other side. side. 7 multiplied by 4 and 3x, and it will give us the answer 28. X is equals to 28 divided by 3, and the answer for x will be 28 divided by 3, and it will give us 9.3. This will be the answer of part C. Let's suppose if we do part E here, 5x minus 2 x minus 5 is equals to 4x. If we solve this question, first thing that we will do is 5x, we will multiply minus 2 with x and minus 5. When minus 2 will be multiplied with x, it will give us minus 2x, and when it will be multiplied with minus 5, it will give us plus 10. Furthermore, now I will keep the x's on one side and the other values on the other, but before that we can do is 3x plus 10 is equals to 4x. Now if I move this towards this side, so it will give us 10 is equals to 4x minus 3x, and the answer will be 10 is equals to x. You can also change it, replace it. Why? Because obviously sometimes you have to be careful while doing it, but otherwise the answer will look like this. For the third question, the answer for the second question is this, and the answer for the third question is this. Now the rest of the parts which I have missed are part B and part D. So you will have to do them as part of your homework, and I will also tell its slide number, and it's slide number 7. So make sure, although you have to do, well, it should be your practice that it's better for your practice that you do all of these questions, but at least you should be done with part B and D, because I haven't done those parts here. So these two parts should be done using the slide number 7. Now what we will do is we will move forward. Moving forward to the other questions, which are obviously part of the topic 2. So there is a lot of practice in this chapter, and there is no theoretical part. There is no part which is which is based on the formulations most of the times. Now this is part of the problem solving questions. The two are the problem solving, but again the only difference between this part and this part is that although we have to find x, but it is given in a problem solving form, and you have to use this word problem to convert this question into a proper equation, just like this, these equations which are being shown. So in order to convert, or in order to solve a word problem, I have told this thing many a times, that in order to solve a word problem, you have to convert it in the language of mathematics. If you understand the language of mathematics, you will be able to easily convert it into an equation, and once the question is converted into an equation, it becomes really easy to solve it. So this is what we will do in this question too. Starting off with the first one. If 1 by 4 1 by 4. I have written 1 by 4. Why? Because I am converting a problem solving equation into an equation through which you can easily calculate the value of x. You can find the value of x. If 1 by 4, you see, if 1 by 4 of an amount is 150, of means multiply. In the language of mathematics, of means multiply. If 1 by 4 of an amount, what is that amount? If 1 by 4 of an amount, that amount which is unknown to us. So what we will do in that case? We will assume that value. We will assume that an amount could be, let it be x. Let it be x. If 1 by 4 of an amount is 150, is means is equals. Is means equal sign 150. Now you can easily see it, that what do I mean by it? 1 by 4. If 1 by 4 of an amount which is x is equals to 150, find the amount. We were talking about this amount. Now we will find this amount. In order to find this amount, what we will do, obviously when 1 is multiplied by x, it will give us x over 4 is equals to 150. Right? What we will do is, we will move it. X is equals to 150 multiplied by 4, and it will give us the answer. A very simple case. Now I think we will do the part B as well. Why? Because it is different from part A. So this is part A that we have done. Moving on to part B. Six times a number. 6 times. Again, if you see part B here, 6 times, 6 obviously is the value 6, times again in mathematical language is known as multiply. A number which we do not know, an amount, a number, a value, all of these terms will be considered to be a value or amount, or an amount or a number which is unknown to us. So what we will do, we will assume that number, we will assume that particular amount, we will assume that value, and we will consider it as x, y, z, whatever you want to consider it with. But usually as we are solving the questions, we are using x too much, so that's why we are using x as part of that value. Otherwise you can take any, consider it as any part of the value. 6 times means multiply. A number, that number which we do not know, x. Is, again is means equals 180. Which means 6x is equals to 180. So how easy it becomes once you are able to convert a problem solving into a mathematical language based equation. So it will become so easy for you to solve this question. So the main part in the problem solving is to understand the problem solving equation, and then how to convert it into a mathematical language based equation. X is equals to 180 divided by 6. X is equals to 180 divided by 6. It will give us the answer 30. As simple as that. Now, what we will do further? This was the part B. If we move on to, let's suppose if we skip one, we will do this question. This seems to be a bit lengthy, part D. So now I will move on to part D. Solving part D. First I will write the complete equation. 3x minus 4 divided by 3 plus x minus 3 divided by 2 is equals to 7 by 6. Now basically what these two equations are, we have to understand them, because there are so many brackets, which is why it is becoming a little bit confusing that how these equations will operate. So I will make it simple for you guys. This is basically 3x minus 4 divided by 3 plus x minus 3 divided by 2 is equal to 7 divided by 6. This is basically the equation. Now one thing that you need to do here, that we need to understand, is that we will need to take an LCM here. In order to equate it, we need to take the LCM, factorize it, which is the value on which all of these two values will be divided. What number? What will be that number? That number will be, you see, that number will be 6. How? You see, if I divide it by 2, this is basically the rule of taking the LCM, and I divide it by 3. Why? Because you have to start with the lowest value in order to factorize. I divided by 2, it gave me 3, and then I divided by 3, it will give me 1. So what are the two values? 3 and 2. If I multiply them, 3 multiplied by 2, it will give me 6. So this is how you will have to consider the LCM. If we take the LCM, when I multiply 3 by 2, then it becomes 6. So 3 multiplied by 2, and 2 will be multiplied with this whole equation. This is how you have to do it. 3 into 2, then it will be obviously 3 into 2, or you divide 6 by 3, so it will give us 2. 2 will be the answer. 3x minus 6 plus this sign, the sign of plus. 2 multiplied by 3, 3x minus 3. Now solving it. If I multiply 2 by this value, the whole equation, it will give me 6x minus 6x, because 2 multiplied by 3 and then 2 will be multiplied by 6, so it will give me 12, plus 3x minus 9 over 6 is equals to 7 by 6. I will erase it from the upper side to solve it further. You can see right now what we have done is we have just formed the equation in a way which is very much easy to be seen. Removing the brackets, 3x minus 4 divided by 3, x minus 3 divided by 2 is equals to 7 by 6. Further, I factorized them. I took the LCM and the value was 6, and then 3 multiplied by 2, the whole equation will be multiplied by 2 and the whole equation will be multiplied by 3. Further, I multiplied the whole equation by 2 and by 3, and this is the answer that I have got. Now we will move further. (6x plus 3x) will give me 9x. Minus 12 minus 9 will give me the answer first of all in minus, and the answer will be positive because it is minus 12 and minus 9. It will give me minus 21 divided by 6 is equals to 7 divided by 6. Cross multiplication is possible here now. You see, you can cross multiply both the equations. 6 will be multiplied here. 9x minus 21 is equals to 7 by 6. Although it can be cancelled out too, but I am doing it in a proper step so you understand the whole part of it. Otherwise, I can just cancel it out. That would have been enough. But if we do it properly, we multiply 6 into 9, and it will give us 54. Minus 21 into 6, it will give us 126. 7 into 6, it will give us 42. Now further, 54x is equals to, I will move this minus 126 on the other side, and it will be multiplied with, it will be added with 42. I will remove the last part here of the previous page. 54x is equals to 126 plus 42. It is giving me 168. X 168 divided by 54, and x will give me the answer 168 divided by 54, 3.11. So this is the answer. The only thing that you need to consider while doing this question is to completely understand it, write it properly, do it step by step, and then you will find the correct answer. Otherwise, you might make a mistake which will be just a mistake which you would not want to do any time, but in any of these equations or in any step where you are right now, but you might make a mistake like that and the answer will be no. So you just need to be careful while doing the whole question. So what are the parts which I have not done from this slide? Part number C and part E. I would recommend you guys that you solve these parts and get the answer. Part E is also very easy. You just have to multiply 4 with 3y minus 9, and then you will have to multiply 7 with this value, and then you just need to equate it. It is far more easier than part D. So I will also mention the slide number. The slide number for doing part C and E are slide number 8. From slide number 7, you had to do 2 parts which were, I think, B and D, and from slide number 8, you will do part C and E as part of the practice. And other than that, you should also do the rest of the questions too as part of your practice. Now we are moving forward to the next part. So substitution. You have to substitute x. If a value of x is given, so you have to find it and you have to give the answer of it. If, let's suppose, this is a very simple question, x minus 2 is given, you have to solve it, and the value of x is 6. So obviously if you put the value of x, which is 6, in here, and 6 minus 2, it will give us answer 4. These questions are very easy. So if we start doing it, the first part, part A, you have to put the value of x everywhere. Let's suppose the question is 10 over x plus 4. You don't know the value of x, so the value of x is given here. X is equals to 2. Just put the value of x. 10 divided by 2 plus 4. Although if you divide it simply 5, because you will divide it, it will give you 5. 5 plus 4, it will give you the answer. A very easy term. You can also, what you can do is that you can take the LCM, which is the right way. Most of the times, the right way is to take the LCM first. So the LCM, it is factorized on 2. Obviously 2 ones are, so it will give me 10, and 1 2 plus 2 into 4, 18 divided by 2, and it will give me 9. The other way around is that you just, using this, you can divide it and it will give you 5 plus 4, and it will give you answer, which is 9. Exactly the same which we have found through taking the LCM. So it's exactly the same. Now what we will do is, we will do part C. In part C, what we have to do is we have to again put the value of x in the equation, and then we will have to find the answer. Part C. The question is x square plus xy. The value, if x is equals to 3 and y is equals to 4. X is equals to 3 and y is equals to 4. We have to put the values and find the answer. Simply we would put the value of x here. It will be 3 square plus again the value of x, which is 3. the value of y, which is 4, and we will get the answer. 9 plus 12, and it will give us the answer 21. Simple. This is part C. For part D also, the part D is also very easy, but I think I should do it for you guys. So there is one thing in this part D where you have to use the use of this negative sign needs to be understood. So we will do part D as well. In part D, if x is equals to -2, what is the value of 1 minus x plus x square? Now x is equals to -2. You have to put -2. Whenever such a situation comes where you have to put the sign as well, mostly in cases of negative sign, because in the cases where there is a positive sign, you do not write the positive sign because it is obvious that if there is no sign, so the sign with that value will be positive. So if you consider it, what you will do, 1 minus -2 plus x square, which is basically -2 square, and that square will also be in bracket. Why? Because there is always a difference between this and this. You need to understand this difference. So when it is in bracket, it will give the positive sign. First of all, you see this minus sign is being multiplied with a value in bracket which is -2. So when it will be multiplied, it will become positive 2. Plus -2, this is basically this term. If we consider it, it is like this. So when you do it, minus minus will be positive and 2 and 2 will be 4. So it will give us +4. And the answer will be 1 plus 2, 3, 3 plus 4, 7. So here is the answer. Moving forward. Now, which question I have not done here is question number, it's part B that I haven't done. Part B, you have to do part B. Although you have to do all of these, you should do it for the sake of practice. But for part D, it is on slide number 9. You can easily see that on slide number 9, there is part B. You need to do. In slide 7, there were part B and D. In slide, this is basically slide number, I think this is slide number 10. Sorry, because there was one slide related to this portion which was for only the understanding purpose, which I have put. On slide number 7, you have to do part B and D. On slide number 8, you have to do part C and D. And on slide number 10, you will do part B. Now I will just erase it one more time. And we will move forward to our next topic. Now we are done with all of these questions which were part of the basic algebra. So now the two main topics that we will cover, which we will cover in the next classes, are number 1, this is simultaneous equation, and the second part is the quadratic equation. These two we have to do in the next class. So till then, what you need to do is, you see these are the questions of the quadratic equation. So there are 3 remaining topics that we have to do. This is very easy. This part is relatively very easy and easy to interpret too. These are the 2 things that we will cover in the next class. I will try that when we will be in live session 2, I will do some of these questions in the live session as well, and I will ask you regarding your previous queries as well. And furthermore, we will also talk about this quadratic equation too, that how we can do these quadratic equation questions as well. But what we need to understand here is that whenever we will be doing a simultaneous equation or a quadratic equation, we need to first understand the mechanics of it. I will try my best to make sure that you understand these mechanics in the live session as well. But that will not be enough, obviously, because I know that doing through this method, where I have the board in front of me and the slides too, it is easier for you to understand. So even if we will be doing these 2 things in the live session as well, I will make sure that in the next recorded session as well, I will do these questions. One of the simultaneous and the other one for the quadratic. So now we will meet on Wednesday for our live session, in which we will discuss the midterm exam, the project that I have allotted to you, the assignments that we are done with, how many assignments we have to do further, the number of quizzes and all, and these questions as well. Till then, goodbye.